Okay folks, we're going to do a quick winter test here in the Kia Soul EV. I'm going to try to not make this too long. One of the group members on the Facebook group, Canadian Kia Soul EV owners, his name is Dan Andrews. He gave us this good tip, and I think it's really good, and I think it'll really work. I'm going to put it to the test just to make sure. What he says is basically you can get pretty good mileage in winter driving during highway speeds. So let's see. What he suggests to do is drive with no heat on other than the heated seats, the heated steering wheel, and what he suggests is rotating the climate control on and off every 10 minutes or so, depending on how cold you get, and keeping it on for like a minute or two. I'll give you the parameters. The highway speed, I'm going to set the cruise control at 105 kilometers an hour and not deviate from that on highway speeds. Driving moderately when I get off the highway. And I'm also going to drive in strictly B mode. Not D, but B for regenerative braking. The other thing to note is I have winter tires on with low rolling resistant tires. So I don't know if that really makes a difference, folks, but I have those on. And before I left the house, I gave some more parameters that I have and settings for the car. So let's go take a look at it right now, and then we'll come back and see how we're doing. So what we've got here today, I'm going to be driving to work. It's about 45 kilometers of mostly highway. As you can see there, I've got the steering wheel heater on. I can feel it there. If we go to here, I've got the heated seats on to level 2. It could be 3, but like I said, I don't want to go 3. Reset the trip computer, trip A to 00, so we'll see what it is. 100% battery, and I've got 111 right there, 111 kilometers of range. The climate control is off right now because it's warm. I've preheated the car, so the battery is warm, the car inside is warm, it's nice and toasty, so I don't need to turn it on. I'll start driving, but the key to what he was saying is this recirculation button right here. Keep this on. That way, while you're driving, in the vents and stuff like that, you don't get the cold air coming in as you're driving and cooling down the interior in the cabin. So that is one of the keys. So let's start. It is 8:42. It's probably going to take me a few minutes to get there, and we'll see what we get. Okay, folks, just getting on a highway now. It's about 5 minutes after I've left, and I'm just merging on. I'm at 105 kilometers, setting the cruise control right now, keeping it on B mode, and I'm on the highway at 5.6 kilometers from where I left my house to the highway. So that was city streets, 5.6, so basically 5.5. I've gotten from 111 to 106, so I've used 5 kilometers. So right now it's on par with the consumption for the range, and we're at 95%. So we're gonna stay on a highway for a little bit, probably about 30 kilometers if I remember correctly is what my commute is, and then we'll check back and see what it is. Okay, one thing that I've noticed already, and this may be pertaining to winter driving, I'm pretty sure it is, there's a lot of moisture in this car from the snow melting into the mats or into the, if you've got a tray at the bottom, there's moisture in the car. So once you've turned off the climate, and it's still pretty warm in here, like I said, I've been going about 6 or 7 minutes. It is -1 outside, probably with the wind it's probably even colder because it was windy today. And what I've noticed is because of everything is off and I've got that recirculation off, so nothing is recirculating into the car, so all the vents are completely off. The windows are starting to fog up a little bit. That's because of the moisture in the car. So what I think I'm gonna have to do if it gets really bad, just so it's not a safety issue, I'm gonna have to put on the defroster, and then I'll put it on with the heat, so that'll give you some heat and some defrosting at the same time. And we'll see if we can make a good 35-minute commute, which is about 45 kilometers long, workable. Okay folks, it's been exactly 10 minutes since I've started driving with no heat on. I had like I said, the climate and the cabin preheated to 22 degrees. It was what it was preheated for. I'm going to turn on the heat now for about 2 minutes. I'm going to pump it up to 25, let the windows defog a little bit because they are still a little bit foggy. And what I'm doing, just of note, when I'm putting the climate control on, I have it set on driver only. So that's another key. It's just me in the car. There's no one else here. I don't need anything else. I'm down to 92% when I put that on. Okay, we're back. It's been exactly 2 minutes. Let me go back to the EV settings here. We're down to 89%. Just before I turn it off, I can tell you the climate kilowatt consumption is hovering anywhere around the 5.25 kilowatts. So quite a little bit of power coming in there. The key is, okay, I've turned it off now. It's just been about 2 minutes. The key is when you turn it off, like Dan Andrews says in his post, is you have to manually take off the recirculation. You have to press that button. That's the only way. Every time you turn the climate on and you take it off, it's gonna reset itself and you have to turn that back on. So the windows are all defogged and we'll just see what happens from here. I'm toasty warm. There's no need for an electric blanket or anything like that for my trip, like I've read on some other forums and posts that some people do in winter driving. You know what? My opinion is if you need to put a winter blanket in your, or an electric blanket in your car while you're driving, maybe an EV isn't for you in your long commutes. Okay folks, it is exactly 10 minutes after I turned the heat off last time, and it is also the time I'm just getting off the highway too. So if I go to our settings, we're at 77% on the battery. I forget what it was when we got on the highway, what the percentage of the battery was. I'll have to go back and check my notes. The heat is on. The windows aren't fogged up anymore, that's a good thing. And the kilometers are 33.6 kilometers. So we entered the highway at 5.6 kilometers, I remembered. So that is the difference. I'll do the math up here. That is the difference of what was strictly highway miles. So the heat's on, and you know what? I haven't got cold. The steering wheel heat is still on. It's still got level 2, and we're doing good. Okay, it's been 2 minutes now, so I'm turning off the heat because I'm nice and toasty warm. We have 80 kilometers of range left, and we've done 35 kilometers. So that's 115 kilometers. So that's a difference of that's a capacity or a combination of 115 kilometers in total. Remember, we started with 111 kilometers, and that's with highway driving and turning on the heat. We turned on the heat twice so far for 2 minutes. So 4 minutes of heat in the 20 minutes that we've been driving so far, roughly about 20 minutes. And we've gained 4 kilometers. That's pretty good. So we are here 45 kilometer trip, 74 kilometers left on my range. So 74 and 45, you know what? We almost made 10 kilometers. We made 8 kilometers extra on this trip. Let me show you quickly. I didn't have to turn the heat back on afterwards either. So as you can see, 74, let me show you the consumption. Consumption is 19.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That's pretty good for winter highway driving. 45 kilometers of winter highway driving. And as you can see there, all the settings are still locked in for the driver only, and the recirculation off. The seats are still on. So that's it. What I'm going to do, what I maybe should have done the first time, is I'm going to, tomorrow, when I make this exact same trip, I will keep the climate control on at a steady 22 and not turn it off, and see what my consumption is then, if the temperature outside is generally the same, which I think it will be. So that's it, folks. I hope that video helped you and, realize that winter driving in an EV isn't that bad. I didn't have to sacrifice anything. I wasn't uncomfortable. I was quite warm. Just have to do a little bit of preheating and a little bit of adjustments here or there without carrying an electric blanket or anything like that. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel for more Kia EV stuff. Take care.